What's up, everybody? I'm back with another video. Week 17 of commercial dive school done and in the books. If you're not familiar with who I am or what I'm doing, my name's Hunter Oakley, and I'm doing like weekly recaps kind of on how my commercial dive school up in Seattle, Washington at the Divers Institute Technology is going. So I'm just basically going over what we do every week, so you guys can see what goes on, and if you have any questions, hit me up. But anyways, this week is the first week of hydraulics. So we just wrapped up NDT last week, which is non-destructive testing, and this week we started working with tools down there other than just wrenches. So we got about 3 different projects going on. I'd say there's off one side of the barge there is 2 18-inch flanges that are probably, I would say, 4 feet long, and they're hanging mid-water on a chain, and they got a pad eye on them. So that's one project we got going on. We gotta swing those together with like a trucker's hitch, or some of the guys we're using a lift bag. There's a bunch of different ways to get it together, but anyways, that's one of the projects. And then on the other side of the barge there's a fireboat, an old fireboat that's been there for a long time, and our salvage boat that we're gonna be lifting here in a few weeks is sitting on top of that fireboat, like crooked. And so we're trying to chop that thing up with a cutoff wheel and a grinder. So we're trying to chop that thing up and get rid of it, because they're kind of sick of it being down there, and it's kind of a mess. It's got a bunch of jagged metal all over it, and you can't see anything down there. So anyways, that's kind of the two. And then there's a third project going on, but we kind of halfway through the week we kind of stopped doing that, and we were just all hands on that fireboat. But there's another project kind of like the one on the other side, 2 big flanges, but I think these ones are elbows, and you got to swing those together and bolt them together, put the impact gun on there, and go to town. So anyways, Tuesday was our first day, technically, of hydraulics. So we had to learn like the basics of it and everything. So we did half the day in the classroom and then half the day on the barge. And so they were just kind of explaining to us how everything works, and it was cool because it was a little bit more hands-on than usual, instead of just sitting there in the classroom going over all the PowerPoints. So we went on the barge and he kind of explained everything to us, so it actually made sense. And then Wednesday, so I put together that flange. It was 2 of us diving off that side of the barge. We put it together, put the impact gun on it, and took a couple GoPro videos, and then disassembled it. So that was Wednesday, all in the same dive. And then I guess the next dive they put the impact gun on there and went to town, and they rounded out the head on the bolt. So for the next, I think it was like 6 dives, the next day we finally got those 2 bolts off, because they rounded out the heads of 2 of those bolts. And then instead of leaving bolts kind of loose in the 12 and 6 position, they took all the bottom ones off, left like the 12 and 11 in, and those were the rounded out heads. And so when the weight of that thing swung open, it bit down on those top pieces, so it really made them hard to get out. So yeah, the next day, Thursday, I was a standby diver for, I think it was like the first dive, but I didn't go down at all. And then I dove again on the last dive of the day, and the few dives before that, I did that same project again, the flange project, and they grinded off those heads completely, but the way that those bolts were sitting in the flange, it was even grinded completely smooth. It still had like an eighth of an inch of meat on that thing, so there's no way you were gonna beat that bolt through. So luckily I was able to get a wrench on it and beat that off, and then I got it loose enough to where they kept nicking the threads also of that shank or whatever. They kept nicking that with the grinder, and so the threads were all messed up. So once I did get that nut backed off, we had to like somehow get vice clamps on there to grab the shank of that bolt and clamp it down, and then luckily we were able to rethread that and get the nut off. So that's what I ended up doing Thursday. I got both those bolts off the flange project. And then Friday I ran the Desco free flow hat and was just chopping up the fireboat. Basically nothing fancy. That Desco is, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. We dove it a couple weeks ago and I loved it, and I was like, man, this thing's nice. It just floats on your head, you don't have to worry about it. I feel like you have a bigger wider range of view, you know, like in a Kirby Morgan you're kind of limited to like this, and I felt like the Desco had a bigger lens on it, and so you were able to see more, which I liked. But when we were down on that fireboat you couldn't see anything anyway, so it didn't really make it much better. And then it was kind of leaking. I think that just the neck seal was too big for me, and I had like a cheater neoprene neck strap on to try to tighten it up, and it didn't really hold. So I was getting water in the hat a little bit, but so yeah, I got mixed emotions about that hat. But anyways, that's basically it for this week. I know that we're kind of continuing hydraulics this week, also this upcoming week, so I will get back to you guys on that, but appreciate you guys watching. I might throw a couple pictures of that flange or whatever at the end of this right now if you've stayed this long to watch, but other than that, I appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.